All right, we have fast forwarded about 5 or 6 days. Previously in this video, we had talked about removing and replacing the temperature sending unit and having trouble getting the heater hose hooked up. We got the heater hose hooked up, and I'll show you that as we complete out this video. We just basically took a shorter 90 and slid it in. We ran into problems with the temperature sending unit though. It's a lot taller unit. I tried to go on the back side of the new distributor and clearance out enough room. Just not quite able to do that without basically ruining the distributor. So we stopped that and went ahead and tried to put the sending unit in place and then put the distributor back in on top of it. And in the process, I guess I just tightened it up too much, and you'll see there's quite a bit of difference in the sending unit that's in the manifold now versus the one we're going to put in. And basically tightening it up, I broke it. Apparently it's shorting out on the inside because when we crank the vehicle or crank the truck, it's pegging at 280 degrees and the motor's stone cold. So we know we got a problem there. All right, give a call to my guys down at Summit and they had a fix. This is the old water neck we took out. If you notice, there's a hole right here, or partial hole, that could have been drilled out and tapped. The only hesitation I've got is this water neck, number one, was not put on when this motor was put in, so this thing predates the 95, 96 when this motor was built and dropped in this truck initially. So I really don't know how old this aluminum piece is. Could have went ahead and drilled it, tapped it, and put another sending unit in here, and we probably would have been okay. But had we not, and it's brittle, I'm trying to tap it and it breaks, well, I'm going to be right back where we are with the new unit. So basically this is what it's going to look like. The sending unit is going to go straight into the top, and it's a lot shorter, but it's more out in the open, so I've got plenty of room to work with. So we're going to go ahead and install the water neck. One other thing, again, I mentioned previously, anytime you start changing stuff, it's a ripple effect through the project. While we were going through all of this, we got up underneath the truck to look at a couple different things and noticed that the radiator had begun to leak. Now, it was not a leak to where it was making it to the ground. There was no antifreeze, that we would see that would have said, hey, we got to fix this, but it had begun to weep through, leave that, I guess you look for like oxidation or whatever, the green oxidation. This is an old Ford radiator. It's copper and brass combination, so it's extremely heavy, but extremely effective. So I've got it in a radiator shop being gone through. We'll probably get that back the end of the week. Today's Saturday, so I'm thinking Thursday, Friday, maybe next Saturday we have it and we'll drop it in. But we're going to continue on with the video with what we can do here and get the water neck installed. Radiator gets here, we'll drop it in. Thanks for being along, guys. It's Russ Lover's Garage. I'm Jody, and I certainly do appreciate you guys spending a little time here on the channel. If I can hold the camera steady enough, right here, see if I can get my finger in there, right there is the sending unit. And up underneath the bottom of the distributor, if you can, I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not, but it's been, I've ground it out just a little bit. That sending unit has basically twisted inside there. That's where it's located. So what we're going to do is actually plug that hole up with a plug, obviously, and then we're going to move it forward. And you guys probably know what the front end of a Ford intake looks like, but that is the Edelbrock location for the water neck. You got your heater hose, that bypass hose that'll run across there and hook up. So ultimately, that's right there is where we're going with the water neck that I just showed you. A lot of people don't put gasket sealant on their gaskets both sides, and maybe you don't have to, but I'd rather do it, not have a problem, than not do it and still have a problem. All right, let's see if it fits this time. All right, after cutting the bolt down, I'm going to use it to chase out the threads, because anytime you cut a bolt, care how careful you are and how you taper it back, there's always a little bit of a burr that doesn't mesh up just exactly right. So rather than getting a tap, in this case, again, we're using a steel bolt going into an aluminum manifold. So if you take your time, you can use it to actually tap out where you're going. And that way you know everything bolts up when you go to try to put it in. All right. See if we can And then there's always the option for a hammer. If it don't work, you can always try to beat it in with about a 2-pound hammer. Never works, but you can try it. Alrighty. If everybody's got their mouth right, this thing will go right into place. Somebody hadn't got their mouth right. Maybe not. Maybe we got it. Yeah, there we go. It's just one of those things, folks, you just have to take your time. Getting in a hurry will do nothing but get you frustrated, and you wind up boogering something up and making another trip to town. Try not to do that this time. Alright, I'm not going to snug that up all the way till we get a little bit of tension on that other side. Snug up and do good, looks like. Alright. Snug this top one up. Okay. Should be able to. That's good. Wipe that off the fuel line. And see if we can't get that to drop into place. Okay, that never was taken out. We got to get this tightened up and then try to get this out. That's going to be a pain without having to take that distributor back out. But let's get the sending unit tightened up right there. This is going to be a whole lot better all the way around. But again, it's just one of those things that looking at the big picture, thinking about what you got to do versus where you're going, can get you in trouble every once in a while. Don't see how we're going to get that out without pulling that distributor back out. So also, if you notice, guys, earlier in the video, I talked about spacing up the carburetor, and we've got our 2-inch spacer. All right, there's just not going to be enough room to get this to clear the distributor because it's screwed completely down into the intake. So much as I hate to, we're going to have to pull the distributor back out one more time to get that sending unit out. Again, it's leaking. and not working. Somehow or another I wound up breaking it on install. And we'll put a plug down in there and move everything out front here. Okay, I'm going to try to get a mark on this distributor. Down in there. Hopefully you can see it on the distributor and down there on the manifold itself. And that's going to be where we wind up getting the distributor back in place. Once I get done shaking the camera up, making everybody dizzy that's watching the video. Enough there to keep it out of the way. So tighten it back up and we're close to being done with this little part of the project.
Alright.
And probably loosen a little bit up back here in the back to get us a little more wiggle room. Now let's get that other sending unit out. Now the bushing that was on the bottom of the old broken sending unit decided to unscrew from the sending unit and not come out. So we're using an easy out and we're going to try to work it back out and put a new plug in. It wasn't terribly tight to begin with, it doesn't look like. If you guys have never seen one of those, that's what an easy out looks like. You stick it down in the hole and work it in the direction you want it to go, and in theory it's supposed to bring out what you're trying to get out. Sometimes that don't always work the way you think it would, but in this case it worked out pretty good.
Okay. We've got a plug we can stick in there.
Looks about like that. We'll put a little Teflon tape on it. Many times when you're using unlike metals, brass to steel or aluminum and steel, or especially if you're dealing with pipe thread, you know, they don't always recommend using a sealant. Well, in a former life, I worked in the hose industry and the fitting industry, and I would just never mate two unlike metals like that together. Sorry about that interruption there. Had a call come in, had to take it. We'll get this thing here screwed down. This is one of those locations you want to make sure you get it tight, but you don't want to over tighten. Once you get the distributor put back in, you may or may not be able to get back in here to it. So without pulling the distributor back out, and I've had this thing out, I hope this is the last time. Okay. to take the distributor cap off so we can get to the rotor button. All right, we went ahead and got the sending unit obviously put into place. I had a few phone calls and a couple folks dropped by and just wanted to go ahead and get it buttoned up so we could move on to something else. But we did have to pull the distributor out again here, get it out of the way so we could get the other sending unit out. Got this all buttoned up, so I think we're ready to go. All we've got to do is get the radiator in, and we can button all of this stuff back up and hopefully be closer to being ready for Pigeon Forge.